Today I'm going to be tying a Super Sally, which is an imitation of a yellow Sally stonefly. We're going to be tying it on an Allen Fly Fishing T301 hopper terrestrial hook. It's a straight eye, 2x long, 1x fine, slightly hump shank. It's a great hook and designed for any hopper or terrestrial dries you're going to tie. So check them out by visiting www.allenflyfishing.com. So let's go ahead and begin by using some hopper yellow 140 denier UTC thread and attach it at the 60% point of the hook shank, and go ahead and clip off the excess thread. Now let's go ahead and advance our thread back towards the bend of the hook so our thread is in line with the barb of the hook, and go ahead and advance your thread forward, ending at the 60% point of the hook shank. Now go ahead and grab 4 pieces of goldenrod super hair and 1 piece of brown super hair. We're going to be using this super hair to create the body and the rib to the fly. With a pair of scissors, go ahead and cut the super hair cleanly so all pieces are even, and go ahead and attach it to the near side of the hook shank at the 60% point with secure thread wraps. Now begin to advance your thread back towards the bend of the hook, making sure that the super hair stays on the near side of the hook shank as you wrap. Now you want to leave a little bit of thread at the very end of the fly that's not covered up by super hair, and that should be about an eye length. Now advance your thread forward, making sure that each thread wrap lays next to the previous one, ensuring a nice smooth body with your thread hanging at the 60% point of the hook shank. Now firmly grasp the 5 pieces of super hair, ensuring that they are flat, and go ahead and wrap them around the hook shank, making sure that each wrap of the super hairs lays next to the previous one, ensuring a nice smooth body without gaps. It helps to run your finger or bodkin needle against the previous wrap and push it back towards the bend of the hook, ensuring that there's no gaps. Now go ahead and tie down the 5 pieces of super hair to the near side of the hook shank at the 60% point, and cut off the excess super hairs as close as you can to the tie down point. Now go ahead and secure the thread to the hook shank with the whip finish tool and cut the excess thread. Now with a red marker, go ahead and color the very butt end of the thread base that's not covered with super hair. We're going to use some Loon's UV clear fly finish to coat the body of the fly. Now place a very small amount on a bodkin needle and coat the entire body from the butt end all the way to the 60% point. Prior to curing the UV fly finish with a UV light, make sure the body is nice and symmetrical and has a slight taper. To create the underwing of the fly, we're going to use some mottled yellow web wing material. Go ahead and cut a strip that is about the same width as the gape of the hook. And you want to take the tail of the wing and create a nice round shape. Now go ahead and change from using 140 denier hopper yellow ultra thread to 70 denier. And attach the thread just in front of the 60% point and cut the excess thread. Now go ahead and attach the web wing that you prepared earlier at the 60% point of the hook shank, making sure that the end of the wing extends slightly past the end of the body. Now with a pair of scissors, go ahead and trim the web wing at the tie down point so it creates a slight taper from the tie down point back to the tail of the wing. Now go ahead and prepare about 6 pieces of root beer pearl crystal flash and attach them just in front of the 60% point, making sure they're on top of the hook shank when attached. Now go ahead and grab the crystal flash that's in front of the tie down point and pull it back and advance your thread back to the 60% point of the hook shank. With a pair of scissors, go ahead and cut off the butt ends of the crystal flash as close as you can to the tie down point. And also trim the crystal flash so it extends slightly past the end of the wing. Now go ahead and cut, clean, and stack a small amount of elk hair and measure the tips of the elk hair so they extend slightly past the wing in line with the flash. Now while holding the wing with your material hand on top of the hook shank, begin to create thread wraps at the 60% point, making sure that the wing stays on top of the hook shank as you wrap. Now begin to advance your thread forward just behind the eye of the hook, securing the elk hair to the hook shank as you wrap. It helps to lift up portions of the elk hair as you advance your thread forward to ensure that you create a tapered thorax. Now with a pair of scissors, go ahead and cut off the butt ends of the elk hair. It helps to hold up the elk hair and align the scissors at an angle so it helps create a nice smooth tapered thorax. Now continue to hold the wing with your material hand and create a thread base from the 60% point to just behind the eye of the hook, binding down all the butt ends of the elk hair that you just previously cut. Now go ahead and prepare a piece of yellow-black rubber leg and attach it on the near side of the hook shank just at the base of the wing. Now go ahead and prepare another piece of yellow and black rubber leg and attach it on the far side of the hook shank at the base of the wing. Now begin to advance your thread forward, making sure that the rubber legs are staying on the near side of the hook shank as you wrap. And go ahead and lift up the rubber legs and create a thread base just behind the rubber legs and in front of the eye. Now advance your thread back towards the initial tie down point of the wing. Now go ahead and select an appropriate sized piece of golden wheat rooster cape hackle. To make sure it's the right size, go ahead and wrap it around the hook shank. The barbules of the feather should extend 1 to 1.5 gapes of the hook. With the webby fibers peeled off the quill and the inside of the feather facing the fly, go ahead and attach it to the near side of the hook shank, just in line with the tie down point of the wing. Now go ahead and cut off the excess quill as close as you can to the tie down point. and begin to advance your thread forward, lifting up the legs and creating a nice smooth thorax. Now go ahead and prepare some golden stone and trout dubbing and apply it to your thread. Now begin to advance it around your thorax, making sure that one pass of the dubbing goes on the inside of each back leg, and then forward, creating a slightly tapered thorax ending just in front of the eye. Now begin to wrap the hackle around the hook shank, beginning at the base of the tails and then forward, ending just in front of the eye of the hook. Now go ahead and tie off the excess hackle just in front of the eye. And palmer the hackle back towards the bend of the hook to reinforce the tie down point. Now break off or cut the excess feather and finish your fly using your whip finish tool and clip off the excess thread. Now go ahead and trim the front legs so they extend past the eye of the hook about 2 eye lengths. You want the back legs to be slightly longer than the front legs, so go ahead and trim the back legs in line with the end of the body. And that's how you tie the Super Sally.